He doesn't like you.
I'm sorry.
I don't like you either.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Hello everybody, welcome to another week of Daily Star Wars Collecting. This will be week 4, and things are moving along really good. I really appreciate all your guys' videos. A little rough sometimes probably to upload this week with Thanksgiving and all that, but now we're back on track and we can get into some little bit more deeper discussion on collecting. And before I start, I wanted to give you a little haul update. About a month ago I bought something on eBay and it didn't come in the mail, and I thought I was going to have to file a complaint and it's going to be a big mess. And it finally came in, and the guy had sent me a few emails saying, sorry it's late, you know, had some problems with this or that, and I thought he was just stalling, but he actually is a really nice guy, and he really did have a real problem. And so I ended up getting this, which is my only Stormtrooper on the card that I have. It's a Return of the Jedi card, so it's not nearly as valuable, but the card is just in almost perfect condition, so that's one reason I got it. It is punched, but so it's barely punched, so it's almost like it's I mean, the tab is completely in place. You can tell that the bubble's a little bit yellow, but the figure is pure white, and it's got the send in your proof of purchases for the Emperor. You can get the Emperor, so that was just really awesome figure on the card. And I think I mentioned in an earlier video about how I thought about getting all the Return of the Jedi figures on the card, and probably not, it's too expensive, I may not do that, but I thought I would talk about this, especially since we just had our conversation about packaging, that a vintage figure on the card is, you know, they look so cool. Just look at that. It's just really awesome. Well, the guy felt bad for not sending it sooner, so he actually gave me another carded figure for free. This is Paplu, which is one of the Power of the Force figures. It was released on a Power of the Force card with a coin, but they also released it on a Return of the Jedi card. This you can tell because it's written in French up at the top, and it says Made in Mexico at the bottom, that this is a Canadian card. And so I'm not a complete expert on vintage cards, international cards, and so I'm not sure if it's more valuable or less valuable. Probably neither. It's probably just about the same as what it is listed in my guidebook, which has this listed at about $50. And but for free, then that's a really good deal. And there was a couple other things I wanted to say. The card is in absolute perfect condition. There is a little hole in the back where someone seems to have punctured it where going into the figure, but other than that, it's in great condition, and really, really awesome figure, and on the card. And something I just noticed I never even really thought about before. When you look at the back of this, it doesn't actually list Paplu on here. It has the other Ewoks, but not Paplu, or the other one. I think it was Warwick was released also with him as a Return of the Jedi and Power of the Force figure. So there's some interesting things. I'm going to be researching this, and maybe I'll tell you guys a little bit if I figure out more about it. So, two really cool figures. I didn't buy anything else really this week. I'll probably go back to the flea market in a couple weeks here. But I did want to go ahead and tell you this. Addicted to Star Wars 23, Philip, who was on our channel on Thursdays, had another really good idea. And what we're going to do is have a secondary topic, especially because this week's topic is something that a lot of you may not have personal experience with. And I don't want you to just make a video where you say, sorry, I don't know what to say. And then, you know, so I want to give you guys secondary topics. And so me and Philip were sending emails back and forth and trying to come up with a really good way to present this. And something we came up with was the idea of doing a character discussion. And so what I'll do is I'll give you a normal topic about collecting, about, you know, lines of figures and stuff. And then I'll also just say a character's name. So for example, I'll say R2-D2 or Count Dooku or something. And then what would be your job would be to talk about the character from, you know, what did you think when you saw him in the movies? What did you think of the actor that played him? What were your favorite scenes? And also, it would be a good chance for you to do a quick review of show us what if you have any action figures of that character. And for this week, the character discussion is Emperor Palpatine. And so, because I, found that, just first character that popped in my head. Philip actually suggested a more controversial character, and I thought we would save him for a different time. But so this week I want you to talk about Emperor Palpatine, first time you saw him, what your impressions were, the actor that plays him, your favorite scene or line of dialogue, and then any action figures you have of him. And so that's your secondary topic. Feel free to talk about it as much or as little as possible. You could just say, I don't really like Emperor Palpatine, and then be done. So that's the secondary topic, just a little fun thing we'll be doing as a little side. But now the main topic for this week is something I've really wanted to talk about for a long time. I thought it would be a good chance to, dig into this. And it's the Power of the Force 2 line of action figures that came out in the 1990s. So we went 10 years with no action figures at all. And then all of a sudden we get these Power of the Force, just the shelves were covered in Star Wars toys. But a lot of them were not movie accurate at all. A lot of them were very poorly made toys. But a lot of them were really good. And so for a long time I've been making fun of them, like I did in the introduction here, making fun of the Hulk Skywalker, as I call him, because his pecs are sticking out of his shirt like he's, a bodybuilder. It looks nothing like Mark Hamill. And so a lot of them are really funny, but some of them, like Hammerhead, the Alien, or the Jawas, or C-3PO, are all really good figures. They also had a really awesome line of vehicles. And so what I'm going to do is, the topic this week is just to share your thoughts. And despite all their many flaws, they actually did set the framework for Hasbro to make all these modern toys. If those hadn't been a success, we'd never have what we have today. So there's some good and some bad. And I think we could all have some interesting discussion topics about it. And, we've had 15 years of continuous Star Wars toys, mostly because of the success of that line. And I thought we'd take a look at it. So here it is in detail.
I think the main thing we need to keep in mind when we're criticizing here is that the toys were designed to be marketed to kids so they'll be played with. And as collectors, we're used to having Hasbro cater to us because we're so vocal in our criticism with articulation and accuracy. But the real market for Hasbro, and even back then with Power of the Force, was to kids. And so they made toys they thought would be fun to play with. So they didn't really care about accuracy. So when you've got this bodybuilder Luke Skywalker with a giant womp rat busting rocket suit, it seems ridiculous. But that was really in line with what all the other toy companies were doing at the time. Another really popular line was by a different company was Batman the Animated Series. And they did similar things where Batman is all bulked up and he's got these giant rocket packs that shoot and have fold-out wings and stuff. So feel free to be as harsh or as kind as you want in your response, because there really is ammunition for both. I can see lots of merits of the line, and a lot of things that were just, ridiculous even by the standards of the time. And here are some topics you might want to touch on. First of all, hard to believe as it is, most of the people on this channel were too young to buy these toys in the store when they first came out. But I'm sure that Matt at Star Wars NZ Reviews and Wampus Lair and myself, we remember the excitement of all the advertising for these things. And so tell us your personal memories of the line, the first time you were exposed to it and the figures you wanted to buy, stuff like that. Also, talk about any figures you consider to be the best or worst, especially if you actually have some laying around. You could give us a quick review, compare it to a vintage collection version or something like that. I think they did really good on droids like C-3PO and aliens like the Jawas, but they really butchered the human characters. Feel free to mention the vehicles, which were mostly vintage vehicle molds with upgraded paint and sound effects. And if you own any, you can tell us about them. Some of them were really great and fun to collect. And just give an overall opinion of the line as you saw it back then and how you see it now. And compared to modern toys, they really don't stand up. But I think there's a certain charm to them. And I feel like we've nitpicked modern toys so much that we've turned Hasbro into a replica industry instead of a toy company. And of course I'd never want to go back to those days, but I just love the modern stuff too much. But I'm starting to see Power of the Force 2 in a better light. And finally, tell us if you think they'll ever be valuable as collector's items. And there are so many collectors who bought thousands of dollars worth of those red-backed cards, kept them in the attic for years, and now they can barely sell them for the retail price. And I have a medium-sized loose collection and a few carded figures, but only because I like the characters, or, I don't really care about the design all that much. I also kept an X-Wing in the box, even though I know it's really outdated by modern X-Wings and it's not going to be valuable. If you need a reminder on these toys, you can check out Rebel Scum's photo archive, or look around here on YouTube. You can find a couple of good videos. Also, the Shadows of the Empire line of toys falls into this category, so you can spread the discussion around. And it's possible that since you may not care very much about this line of toys, you don't have strong opinions one way or the other. And in that case, just focus on this week's character discussion of Emperor Palpatine. So you can talk about the character, the toys, stuff like that. And you don't have to spend a whole lot of time talking about Power of the Force, because I know some of you guys are too young to really care. That by the time you started collecting, you were already getting some really amazing toys, so you don't have to even think about these older things.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Looking forward to your responses, and may the Force be with you.
You have paid the price for your lack of vision.